everyone, welcome back to Busy Garden Life. I am getting ready to can some pickled beets today. Now I grabbed a nice bunch out of the garden. It's not as much as you normally would have when you're trying to can beets, but it's what I have and I don't want them to go to waste. I want to have some canned beets, so I am going to go ahead and just can these. It's probably going to yield 1 quart instead of the typical 3 quarts or even more that you would can with a big recipe, but I don't want them to go to waste, and I don't necessarily want to buy more because I want to do a fall harvest of them too. So I'm going to just go ahead and can what I have. To start, what we're going to do is we're going to trim the roots off. We want 2 inches on each side, and then I'm going to wash them and put them in a pot, and we're going to boil them in order to peel them and cut them the rest of the way. All right, so we don't want to chop it all the way off while we boil them. That way it'll peel and we can chop the rest off after it's softened a little bit. All right, now I'm also going to save these, and I'm going to put these leaves in a separate bowl, and we're going to use the leaves today for a salad with our dinner tonight. So multi-purpose, which is awesome. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to trim up to 2 inches off the top. We're going to wash them and get them in our pot in order to get them softened and boiled so we can peel them. Okay, so we've washed our beets, we've put them in our pot here. It's just covered with water for right now. We're going to bring them up to a boil or a heavy simmer and let them get warm. Once we pierce them with a fork and they give away a little bit, then we know they're done. We can drain them and let them cool for a little bit before we peel them and get them ready for the jars. So we're just gonna kind of let this go for a little bit, and we will be back in a few. All right, I think we're about ready. You can smell them, it smells so good. Should just be able to kind of poke it with the fork just a little bit. It doesn't have to go in all the way, but let me see if you can see them boiling. Too bad you can't smell it, because if you really like beets, it smells so good. Okay, so while the beets are cooling, we're going to get our water mixture, canning mixture together and get that boiling, because we want to let that simmer for about 15 minutes afterwards. So again, I am thirding the recipe, if that's even a word. It's typically for 3 quarts. I have about, hopefully, 1 quart of beets. So we're going to do 2/3 cup of sugar. It's 2 cinnamon sticks, so I'm going to try to find like a smaller cinnamon stick, because we would need, there we go. Now, the recipe does call for you to put your cinnamon stick and your spices in a little baggie. I'm just going to dump them right into it. It's easier. 1 teaspoon of allspice whole. Half a teaspoon of pickling salt. A little bit more. We want half a cup of water. And it calls for 3.5 cups of vinegar. So I'm going to do 1 cup of vinegar, and then about 1/3 of a half a cup more. Ooh, that might be the 1/3 of my half a cup. Just kind of an estimate there. So that should hopefully get us a whole quart. Now we're going to get this on the stove, bringing it to a boil, and then allowing it to simmer for about 15 minutes. All right, so we are ready to peel our beets. We're just going to peel them all off. Now, if you have gloves, you can wear gloves because your hands are going to get pretty red from that. They'll be stained for a little bit, but. So I'm just going to go through and kind of scrub them and peel them, and then we're going to chop them up and put them in the jar. All right, they are all washed. We're just going to cut off the ends, and you can have them or quarter them, whatever you want based on how big they are. You typically want your beets to be at least 1 inch in diameter in order to can them. I have some that are right around the 1 inch. I have some that are almost 3 inches. So I'm just going to go through, we're going to finish cutting these, and then we're going to can them right away. All right, we are ready. All right, so we are just going to drop our beets into the hot jar, making sure that we have a 1/2 inch of headspace. Oh, we've got plenty more than that. I might actually, it did not make even a quart. It's all right. Should have used pint jars, that's all right. I'll just fill it all the way up. I'm gonna use this. All right, so I'm using a strainer. Instead of using the bags for my spices, I'm just using a strainer over top of my funnel to fill my jar. Okay, so I clearly didn't have enough to fill the whole jar. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna let it cool overnight and put it in the refrigerator. And then I actually might just kind of let it sit in the refrigerator for a couple weeks. It should be good. And that way it allows the beets to kind of pickle a little bit and get some of that flavor in them. But either way, no worries if you do this. If you kind of underestimate how much you have, you can always just put it in the refrigerator and use it later. So that is what I'm going to do. I have canned beets that I'm going to use, and hopefully I can get my fall harvest and be able to can a couple quarts and put them in the pantry for the rest of the winter so that I can use them on my salads for the winter. So anyway, that's the pickled beet recipe that I used. Just for 1 jar. You can use, make 3 quarts at a time or even more if you want to, but that's what I'm going to do. So I hope you liked the recipe, and subscribe to the page, follow along as we do more preserving and meal plan and meal prep throughout the winter with the stuff that we've grown in the garden. See you soon.